What's up, guys? Yale Greenfield, aka the Live King. You got Shark Tank Poker Club in the background here in Columbus, Ohio. This is where I'm from originally. This is a place that's pretty special to me. I played here for 4 years or so, had come back to Columbus, had considered doing some other things with my life, found this place and decided to continue to stay in poker. It is a really, really good atmosphere at this club. It's pretty intimate, a lot of regulars. It's really friendly. They have a nice variety of cash games. This club, it is the absolute best rake structure that I've ever seen anywhere in the world. You walk in and you pay a one-time $25 fee, and then you can play cash for as long as you want. And there's absolutely no rake after that. What I'm gonna be doing here is running a 2-5 no limit game. It's gonna be my first meetup game ever. The game structure is gonna be 2-5 no limit hold'em with a 300 minimum and a 1,000 maximum. That is also gonna have a 75% match the stack. And I always do love that because it gives the opportunity to play some super deep stack no limit Texas hold'em. Want to thank all the guys at Shark Tank for helping out. So I want to thank Justin and Sean, the owners of the club, and Dave, the general manager, for helping me put this game together. So I'm really excited to be hosting my first ever meetup game ever. Just excited to get in there and play with people who watch the channel or who are familiar with me and have a little bit more of a relaxed type atmosphere to shoot a little poker vlog. I will be back with a recap at the end. I'm excited to be here at my very first meetup game. And we're playing 2-5 no limit Texas Hold'em, 300 to 1,000 with a 75% match stack today. I pick up ace king offsuit in the small blind, my absolute favorite hand. Middle position, a guy named Tommy calls. And the button calls as well. I shoot it up to $75, a pretty big raise here. Tommy calls in middle position and the button calls. So 3 ways to the flop. Flop's 9-8-8 rainbow, so we completely whiff and start with a check. Everybody checks through, and we get an ace turn. I quickly check. I think betting or checking could be fine here. Tommy bets $150. Button gets out of the way, and I don't think we've got a lot of options here. When we play it this way, it's a clear call. River's a 10, changing very little, and I decide to check it over to Tommy once again. Tommy goes for $275. Again, not much of an option, quick call, and Tommy reveals the bad news. He limped pocket nines from middle position, slow played the flop, and took us straight to Value Town. I'm looking for redemption after that initial loss, and I pick up 8-7 of clubs, raise it to $20 from cutoff. The main villain in this hand is once again going to be Tommy. So we've got a little note on Tommy. He played pretty passively in that first hand, and he makes it $85 to go from the big blind. I go ahead and call. Alarm bells are going off. After you see a guy limp middle position with a hand as good as nines, his 3-betting range is probably pretty tight in this spot. But I'm going to try to snap him off. Flop comes queen 7-7 rainbow. This is a pretty good flop for us, so unless Tommy has pocket queen squarely, we're ahead, and Tommy does something a little odd here. He bets over pot, $200, and I go ahead and call. The turn's a jack. This isn't the best card in the deck because Tommy probably has a lot of big pairs here, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. We flop trips. We're not that deep. Tommy bets 500 into 572 now. I've only got 700 back, and I go all in. Tommy quickly calls.
1 or 2, Tommy.
And we're going to discuss if we want to go once or twice.
We'll just go twice. We'll go twice?
Tommy wants to go 2 times.
No.
Strip 7.
Nice half.
He asks us if we have quads, and obviously not. Those are impossible to make.
I'm going to run it twice for him. Make a room for 7. You said twice?
My buddy KG's rooting me on. Wants me to hit a 7. Thank you, KG. And we brick out. Do not improve. And Tommy has totally wrecked us in the first 2 hands of our own meetup game. About an hour into the session now, and I'm stuck approximately $1,500. This hand is 2-5 and a $10 straddle. And I peel queen 5 of spades in the straddle. A very friendly guy I've known for years named Kevin calls from the big blind. And I go ahead and check my option. Flop is 10-7-3 all spades, so we've got a flush. Kevin checks.
The Intimidator.
I go for the small bet. Kevin min raises me, and I call. Turn's a king, so doesn't change too much here. Maybe sometimes either of us could have like top 2 pair now. But Kevin bets $15, so he bets a pretty small size.
70.
And I raise it up, $70.
Damn, what is this, a cooler?
Kevin remarks that, is this a cooler? Which is kind of odd to me. I don't really know what to make of it. Basically implying that he's got some kind of good hand, and he re-raises to 170. So now I'm in the tank, and I'm wondering if I'm getting speech played here. It's hard to think he could have an ace-high flush, but a lot of people in Ohio tend to play passive, and I don't really know what's going on. I just call. River's a jack. I don't think this changes too much. Kevin bets $335. I'm feeling a little sick here. It's hard to think that, again, he could have an ace-high flush, certainly could have some king-high flushes, but it's blind on blind, so he's got a lot of flushes in range. We certainly beat some of those flushes. I really want to make a tight fold here, but I don't. I call. Yes. And Kevin shows us the king 6 of spades. So it's a pretty big cooler here, blind versus blind. And the turn 3 bet in the speech play, maybe I should have taken the cue and just folded. Okay, so this is part 1 of the Meetup Game series. So a $1,652 loss for Meetup Game 1. But before I leave Columbus, Ohio, I'm gonna try to do a second Meetup Game. Hopefully I can provide a little more action than I did this time, because I just really wasn't able to get much. And we're gonna look to turn it around, get revenge, and reclaim some of the cash. We are back here outside of the Shark Tank in Columbus, Ohio. It is day 2 of 2 of the Meetup Game. So first Meetup Game didn't go great, but today we are doing a second rendition. We're back, gonna try to avenge our loss. Before we get started, real quick, don't want to leave Columbus without doing a food review. A couple days back, I went to the Locks Bagel Shop. That's in the Short North District of Columbus. And to me, it is either the best or one of the best sandwiches in all of Columbus, Ohio. And in fact, it's one of my favorite sandwiches nationwide. Pastrami on a plain bagel. And their pastrami sandwich has pastrami that they source from California. They then cure it in-house. They do it with Swiss, pickled onions, and a little bit of mustard. And the pastrami is bursting with flavor. I honestly believe it's the best deli sandwich in Columbus. Otherwise, we're gonna go in there today, gonna try to have fun first and win second. Those two things, when they happen together, are quite nice. I will catch up with you guys at the end for a little recap on how day 2 of the meetup went here in Columbus, Ohio. Day 2 of the Meetup Game now, and we're looking to right the ship from that loss on day 1. And we peeled 2 blackjacks in the cutoff. Now, I personally love jacks. A lot of people say there's no good way to play it, but I love them. Many good ways to play this hand. Early position limps, low jack limps, high jack limps, and I decided on $40 with our 2 jacks. Early position makes the call, as does low jack, and high jack's gonna come along too. So if it's good for 5, it's good for 40, and 4 ways to the flop. And we get a 10-6-4-2 diamond board.
90.
So when they check to us, I'm going to bet for value and protection $90. An early position quickly calls, and now the action is on a guy named Fang. Fang and I have battled a lot over the years off and on, and he is what I would describe as a idiosyncratic player. Sometimes he's really tight, sometimes he's really loose. He loves to show you bluffs. He's fun to play with, and he's not easy to play against. Fang takes an unusual amount of time here. He's just really deep in the tank for a $90 bet. And when he limps and calls the 40, I think there's a lot of stuff he can have. Hands like 5-3, 7-5, almost any combination of diamonds, 2 pairs. He's just got a lot of stuff here, and he does eventually decide on a call. Turn is about as good as it gets. It's a deuce, bringing in a second potential flush draw, and they both check to me. And I fire 300. So the board is getting more dangerous. but we gotta protect our jacks with a decent-sized bet here. Fang calls. So we're off to a river, and it is not a good one. Ace of diamonds. So the front door flush now comes in. I'm really hoping he checks and I can just check and get to showdown. I'm not feeling very good about this spot as he takes a lot of time.
All in.
And Fang's got other plans. He goes all in for 800 and I quickly fold. I just don't think the black jacks are worth the hero call here. So thus far we haven't been able to get things going in the positive direction. But always the opportunity to do better, and we've got our favorite hand, ace-king offsuit. There's an early position limp.
65.
A low jack limp, and I go ahead and raise it up to $65 from the cutoff. The only caller here is going to be our friend and loyal vlog watcher, KG, as the low jack gets out of the way. So heads up to the flop here. And we get the 9-4 deuce, 2 diamonds.
Check.
Not a very good flop for us. But I go ahead and start with a continuation bet of $50. And I think occasionally I can get called by worse here, and sometimes we just win on the flop. But in this case, that doesn't happen as KG puts in the call and quickly checks it over to us on this ace of diamonds turn. So the flushes come in, and I decide to check it back here. But the river is really good. It improves us to trips. And now KG's gonna fire 105, and I beat him into the pot because trips. He shows 2 sevens. We finally get a win here.
Your favorite hand when 2 of them came out.
I got lucky. I got a lucky run out.
With our ace-king.
Can I get a...
Buckle up for this one. It's a one-off, action-inducing hand. So what we've got here is we've got 5 blinds. 2, 5, 10. Someone convinces Trish to put on the $20 blind, and once she does that, the guy to her left, Mike, puts on a $40 blind raise, so he will not have an option here. The button calls 40. The $2 blind completes. Big blind's gonna fold, and we've got Live King's absolute favorite hand, ace-king offsuit. So we go upstairs and make it look like $210. Trish puts in the call. I've played a fair bit with Trish. I think this is a pretty strong hand from her.
All in?
And the $40 blind goes all in for $11.55.
What is it, like 1,000?
This guy had been playing a lot of hands, but certainly I would expect that this is going to be a good hand. The other 2 people get out of the way, and now it's back on me. And really, I don't think this is a tough decision at all. Ace-king is simply too strong in this scenario. I go all in for my $22.77 total. While Trish is contemplating her options, facing our all-in, we recently made a push past 2,000 subscribers, and we're headed towards 3,000. So please hit that subscribe button. I think when she's in the tank here, she's got hands like 9s, 10s, jacks, maybe sometimes ace-queen, ace-jack suited, hands like that. I'm really hoping she folds here. And Trish does fold.
Oh, whatever you want to do. Oh, I don't care. One time? One time.
He wants to go once, and that's what we're going to do.
Ah, the jack.
Nice hand. And he shows queen jack off. So a little bit of a maniacal play, which could have benefited us, but instead, the ace-king goes down in flames. And I really think, look, this is a 5 blind hand. Obviously, our get-in for a little under 30 big blinds is completely standard. But in this case, the poker gods had other plans for us, and our own meetup game continues to not go well. With the prospects of getting unstuck seeming highly unlikely, we just got to grind and play the best we can. So here we've got a $15 early position open. Eddie calls from low jack, and we've got king 10 of diamonds in the cutoff. And I think with the dead money overlay here, I prefer to raise, although I think calling would be okay too, and I make it $65. Early position gets out of the way.
There we go, Eddie.
And Eddie calls. Eddie's never one to deny action. Flop is ace-9-5, one of our suit. So pretty good flop for us in general, not with this specific hand. So when Eddie checks over to us, I fire $65. He calls, and we get a pretty good turn, an 8 of diamonds. So we have a king-high flush draw now, very minimal showdown value. And I think with this ace-high board, we just want to punish Eddie because he's kind of capped himself by calling 2 times. So I go ahead and bet $200. But when Eddie calls again, I think he's got a real hand, and there's very little that we're ahead of at this point. River's a 6. And I don't think I'm going to have any type of 7 in my hand too often to make a straight. So when Eddie checks it over to us, I do have some thoughts about bluffing, but ultimately, I think that's not very prudent here. Some hands we can beat are going to be like queen high and jack high flush draws, but that's about it. Basically nothing, and I give up. And Eddie shows ace-6 of diamonds. So he rivers 2 pair, and we're extremely fortunate that a diamond did not come off, because that could have been disastrous. Last hand here, and we've got queen 9 of hearts on the button with the $10 straddle on. I make it $50 to go from the button with queen 9 of hearts. And it folds to Dalton in the straddle. Dalton has shown up to both meetup games, and he makes it $240 in all in. And look, this hand isn't very strong, but in some cultures, it's in good form to offer your guest a good meal and also occasionally a gift. And I guess my gift to this community, the Columbus, Ohio poker community, has been to disperse my money all over the place in these meetup games. Alright, whatever. So I YOLO call, even though this hand shouldn't be in very good shape against much. And somehow I have him absolutely dominated here. He's got queen 3 suited. Good hand. But the flop comes with a 3, and very apropos that we once again lose another hand here. Things have just not gone our way, and Dalton drags the final hand of the night. All right, guys, that is a wrap here at the Shark Tank tonight. Unfortunately, I was unable to avenge my loss from my first meetup game. It was reasonably card dead, but had way more spots this time at least. But the biggest pots I played, I just wasn't able to manage to win. My favorite hand went down in a ball of flames. Poker life. I said it once, I'll say it again. I said it at the end of the first vlog. Some days you're running good, other days you're not. I've had a lot of very fortunate run good in the vlog, but I had a lot of fun. And people were really kind. 2 tables for almost the entire night once again. Game ran from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. People have been really gracious, really kind, and really supportive. That's really, really nice. Appreciate people being thoughtful, supporting this vlog that my producer and I are working hard on. I was in for 3,000. I was out for 1,250. That's a loss of 1,750. Meetup game, the 2-day meetup game total is a loss of about $3,500. In 2-5, 2-5, 10, not small, certainly not massive with the straddle on a lot. Last, I do want to thank the Shark Tank for hosting both of these games. Good vibe, awesome energy, great management, dealers, and I had a lot of fun. Yeah, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And otherwise, I'm hitting the road. Texas is next. Probably LA at some point up the road after that. And then we got Vegas for the World Series of Poker, of course. Thank you so much for watching. As always, LiveKing out.